How's it going, everyone? Hope you're having a good day. So we've got some pretty good news. Well, it's old news at this point, and it's also rumor news. It's not official, but Hayden Christensen and Mark Hamill are reportedly returning to reprise their roles as Anakin and Luke Skywalker in Daisy Ridley's upcoming new Jedi Order movie that is coming out at some point. But let's jump into the article. I'll link it in the description below so that you can read it for yourself as well. But let's read it, let's go through it, and then let's talk about it because I do have a couple thoughts. Star Wars fans have something new to get excited or alternatively mad about. Mark Hamill and Hayden Christensen will appear as Force ghosts in the recently announced upcoming installment in the franchise. According to trusted and proven sources, two actors will reprise their roles as Luke and Anakin. In the Daisy Ridley-led movie, of course, they are dead at this point, so they would be Force ghosts. They previously broke the news that Lucasfilm was bringing Daisy Ridley back to play Rey, and Kathleen Kennedy has said that the new film will take place about 15 years after the rise of Skywalker, with Rey attempting to rebuild the Jedi Order and apparently messing everything up. As such, it would make sense to bring back Mark Hamill, who has some experience in failing to bring back the Jedi Order, and Hayden Christensen, who has significant experience in, well, another reason that the Jedi are not around. So having them come back would be pretty interesting. While we do not yet know whether Mark Hamill or Hayden Christensen will be interacting in some capacity as Force ghosts in the new Star Wars movie, this certainly raises the intriguing possibility of a father-son Jedi face-to-face for the first time on screen. So I think this is pretty interesting, and I want to share a couple thoughts before we kind of get into the rest of the article, because at this point the rest of the article just recaps some things that we already know. But I think that the idea of Daisy Ridley, Rey, rebuilding the Jedi Order is one that I'm actually warming up to, because I think that it could be a clean slate for potentially creating some new Star Wars stories outside of the Skywalker saga. But I think that at this point, Lucasfilm is slowly starting to understand more and more of what their viewers want. I'm not saying they're perfect yet, but I think that they're slowly starting to understand that. And one of the big hints to me is shows like the Obi-Wan Kenobi show, where they brought back Hayden Christensen and Ewan McGregor, or even The Mandalorian Season 3, even though it wasn't perfect, they're slowly starting to do things that I think that fans have been asking for. And even this, if it's true, Hayden Christensen and Mark Hamill coming back as Force ghosts, I think is at least some sort of attempt at listening to what fans want. And here's what I think fans want, or at least what I want. I can only speak from my opinion, and that is some sort of cohesiveness between all of the Star Wars projects, all of the Star Wars movies. For me, my biggest issue with the sequel trilogy was that it felt completely disconnected from the 6 films before. It felt like they were trying to separate themselves from that and start something completely new with no reference other than the fact that they had Mark Hamill, Harrison Ford, Carrie Fisher there, but they didn't even use them well. It was kind of just a fan service moment, and then let's move on. They're not actually going to really contribute to the story. It felt like the sequel trilogy did not utilize the groundwork that had been laid before it. This, though, gives me hope that potentially Lucasfilm is starting to understand that fans really like the lore and the story and all the groundwork that has been built to make Star Wars what it is. So leveraging that, not in a fan servicey way, but leveraging that in a way that builds the story is something that we really want. So it makes sense in a universe where Force ghosts exist that Hayden, Anakin, and Luke are returning to give some sort of input and guidance into Rey as a Jedi who is rebuilding the Order now. I think the potential there is really cool. Now, they also mentioned that this would be an opportunity for a father-son face-to-face for the first time. It would be a really cool opportunity to see Anakin interacting with his son Luke, even though it would be kind of awkward because Anakin would look like he's much younger than Luke at this point, but that's kind of how Force ghosts work. it would be cool to see these two characters interacting because we haven't really seen that before. Of course, when Luke unmasks Vader, they have a very fleeting, brief conversation because, well, Anakin is dying. But there's also a couple other moments. There's one moment in the book Shadow of the Sith by Adam Christopher. It's a pretty good one. I read it last summer. It came out last summer. There's a scene in that novel where Luke is meditating on Tython, and then he is transported to Exegol. On Exegol, he's attacked, and it does not look good for him until a Force Ghost rescues him. That Force Ghost ends up being Anakin Skywalker, who rescues him and warns him of the impending dark side disturbance in the Force, that something that Luke is starting to investigate, but Anakin reinforces like, hey, Luke, you are on the right track. There is something coming. Of course, we'll find out that that's going to be Palpatine later, but Luke doesn't know that yet. Now, it takes all of Anakin's power to rescue Luke, and so this is a very brief and fleeting conversation as Anakin's Force Ghost is almost fading away. And to be honest, I almost read that as his Force Ghost was permanently fading away, but perhaps maybe that's not the case. So while in the Star Wars timeline, it wouldn't be the first time the characters have interacted, it could be the first time that Luke and Anakin are able to interact in a more extended way as Force Ghosts. Perhaps this is where we could get a really cool conversation where Luke asks his father about his life before becoming Vader. And maybe we get to see Anakin talk about Padme, tell Luke about his mother. Who knows? The possibilities are endless there about some sort of interaction between these two characters. I know for certain it would be meaningful because these are two really important characters in Star Wars that are very closely related to each other in terms of, well, literally in a family sense, but also in the way that their character development works. So it would be cool to see them finally interact together in that way. Anyways, let me know what you think. Of course, once again, this is a rumor. This is nothing that is confirmed. It's happening, but it's a really cool thought. It's something that if it did happen, I think has potential to be a really exciting piece to the Star Wars story at this point. I think it's something that could really make this new Jedi Order movie with Rey something that's exciting and sets up a really good potential for Star Wars going forwards. That being said, it also could just be really terrible and ruin the potential here, but I'm gonna try to lean more on the positive side, and I'll wait till I see it happen to really give my review there. But let me know what you think in the comments below. Is this something you're excited about? If not, also let me know. With that, have a great rest of your day, and may the Force be with you.